All right, what's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father at Amazon, Kindle, and Create Space. A link will be in the description box below, as usual. This video is entitled Love Without Self-Improvement. Maybe Insecure Lovers, I don't know. But what I'm getting at is this. When people talk about being equally or unequally yoked, I started thinking about this and just replaying my own history or whatever. That it's hard to be to have a relationship with and be in love with a person who's insecure, and it's harder to be with a person who isn't working on self-improvement while you are. And as I think back to certain things, I'm like, yeah, it's a problem. Like, I'm into my health. I ain't the healthiest person on the planet, but I'm into health and fitness. I remember being with a lot of people who didn't want to get healthier, eat healthier, get fit or work out and stuff. And it would cause a rift in the relationship because they got comfortable because they were in a relationship, and my lifestyle is that I'm always be active. So the rift was trying to keep me in the house when I wanted to go to the gym or wanted to go running, and that was my way of thinking and bettering myself and improving on and keeping my health up. And there were times where we would go in two different directions physically. Like, I would get fit and they would get fat, and that would cause a rift because now they're insecure, and it's like, you need to work out with me or teach me how to work out. And then it's like, well, but they don't want to do anything, so it's like an argument, right? And I was like, that is a problem. Same thing goes for when people, some people feel like self-improvement is bettering their education so they can get a better paying job. Seen that too, where, the other person doesn't really want the person to get better. They don't want them to go to get a better education. Now, I will say this. I had this talk with an ex of mine before too. They wanted to go back to school, and I was like, is it financially worth it? Like, if you go back and get this third degree, are you going to find a job that's going to be able to pay off your debts, that's going to give you a raise enough to pay off your debts and keep you comfortable at the same time? I get that part. But, there's another part where people just don't want you to, when you're actually going to do that and applying for the better positions and making more money and making moves in life, they don't want you to do that. They're insecure because now your self-improvement means you've moved up a level and they're still on a level. People get insecure about that, and it causes a rift in the relationship. And instead of that person being inspired to do more or achieve whatever goal that they have, they get resentful, and that's a problem. Like, you can't love a person and despise their self-improvement. That doesn't make sense. Another thing would be insecurities. When you're constantly comparing yourself to other people, it's hard to go out with a person because now they're competing with everybody else's appearance or seeing people who went from nothing to something, or something, like people who they know that they see constantly escalating in life, right? And that comparison makes them insecure because if you're stagnant and you see other people on an incline, you're gonna feel some type of way, and now you're gonna cause issues because you don't want to go out, you don't want to be seen, you don't want to go to certain places, you don't want to do certain events, and it makes the relationship stagnant because now you're stuck in a bubble, a prison of your own insecurities, and you're holding somebody along with you, and sometimes that causes a rift because you don't. Other person's like, look, man, I can't live like this. You know what I'm saying? I can't live with you being down on yourself but not wanting to improve yourself. This makes no sense. I can't live with you being mad that you see other people doing good. You just a hater. Why don't you do better? You know? And some people say they want to do better, but they don't. They want to get the attention instead of actually committing the action, which is a problem, you know. You see people work on self-improvement as in, you know, they are making a goal and they're striving to achieve it. And when they're achieving their goal, you know, you have the person that you're so-called that loves you sabotaging your goal because they don't want you to improve. They're constantly undermining your goal. You know, it's not the haters that are outside your door that you need to worry about. It's the hater that's inside your home. You know, and some people have been sabotaged by their closest loved ones for years, not taking into consideration or expecting that would be the person that always betrays them. You know, if they made a decision to move this way, they're going thinking you got their back, but what you're really doing is watching their steps so you can destroy everything they do once they turn their head and get some rest. And it says a lot because I been in situations where that's happening, and the same people turn to you. You have to ask that question. So you put this much effort in sabotaging me achieving my goal, but you would never put this amount of effort into actually achieving your own. So we had to part ways, you know. And then, you know, the resentment and the anger of somebody purposely wasting your time, it's a whole nother story, right? Whole nother story. And then you got the confidence part. Like, because, you know, old coach used to tell me you got people who make it because of and in spite of. And whichever person you are, when you make whatever move you make, and you get your confidence up, you have a person who's insecure because they're not as confident as you. And you could tell because the energy is like off. Like, you know, it becomes a bad competition where, you know, they're a hater to the extent they're actually trying to do what you're doing because they feel like if you can do it, they can do it. But their intent isn't the same. They're not doing it for the same reason. They don't have the same passion for it. They don't have the same drive. It's not really their ambition. It's just doing something because they feel like you're being successful out of spite, you know. And sometimes they're just doing it because, you know, they may be looking for a passion and that might not be theirs, but, you know, you being confident in this thing, they might not get that same confidence because that's not really their thing. So that attempt just to follow in your footsteps, even if it was with no malice, can cause a problem because it's not working for them like it's working for you, you know, which problematic. You then, you know, to me, there's the, how can I put this? There's the split when you actually achieve. You have to think about things differently and look at things differently, and you're with a person who can't understand the mental switch that you're at, and now you're not on the same mental page because you're thinking on this level that you've raised yourself to, and they're still thinking on this level, and they don't understand. And for some odd reason, they don't understand, they don't coincide, and so you're always over their heads, and some people might feel like you're being talked down to or condescending, or it's like no, you got to get this, and this, and honestly, some people are just staying in their lane and they're comfortable where they're at, and when you weren't comfortable and you moved up a little bit, you just can't communicate anymore because you're not actually on the same page, and you're not able to find a middle ground, because now you're on two different planes. You need to kind of meet somewhere in the middle. They got to move up, you got to move a little bit down so y'all can communicate, and that's part of the self-improvement thing. Like, you're gonna have to make adjustments, and that's also an issue with it, because when you make adjustments, the other person has to make adjustments too. And some people grow out of each other because they can't adjust to the new direction. Only thing that's constant in life is change. And some people can't change, or they don't want to change. And because they don't want to change, you grow apart. And sometimes you try to give people time to evolve and see where it goes, because if you reach a place, it's new for you, and then and you reaching that place is also new for them. So there's an adjustment period. There is an adjustment period, but when love is missing the self-improvement, you got issues, because, and sometimes I will say this, sometimes you need that person to ground you too. And sometimes you might, even if you're successful and you're shooting for the stars, you still need a person to ground you, like, hey, chill out. Because you don't want to be constantly on the chase for the stars that you miss what's happening in life. And sometimes it works in that reverse. Like, I've seen people who they're constantly on the grind and on the hustle, and I want to achieve. And they get mad at the person that's telling them slow it down, because you never stop to smell the roses. Like, smell the roses from time to time. Like, don't do this to yourself. And that's that's the great balance of that too. Like, because sometimes you can actually improve different ways. Some people can improve financially. Some people can improve intellectually, and those two things can meet somewhere. That's what I meant by meeting in the middle. Some people advance spiritually, some people advance socially, and you meet in the middle. But when you have these relationships and this love that lacks self-improvement, it just stalls out, because how can you stay in love with a person that is stagnant? Anything else on the planet that stays still dies. So your love is if you stay still, your love is gonna stay still, and it dies because both of you don't improve. So we out, man. We out.